What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and oh boy, who is Tuchel trying to piss me off or what? I mean, if you watch my last review, you already know my very first complaint. Why the hell is Kepa starting? Why? There's no reason for it. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that all of the articles and stuff that I was seeing about how Kepa was saying the coach owes him, Tuchel owes him a start. All of that must have been false. Because if I had a keeper on my team who was just constantly, hey, you need to play me. You owe me a start. I started all these other games. I won all these other games. You owe me a start. And then brought him on for the penalty kick shootout because he's a penalty specialist. And then he came out and missed 11 in a row. And then on top of that, missed his penalty too to top it all off. He'd never play again. He would never see the bench again. And yet here he is starting the very next game. Not only that, but proving why Mendy is number one today. So why? Why did Tuchel start him? On top of that, let's just talk about this lineup. Because this was a lineup set up for us to lose. I do not know how we won this match because this was set up for us to get our butts handed to us by a hardworking championship side. So, I'm just setting myself to release some of this aggression. So, you've already got Kepa in goal, which means you're going to be a little less sure back there. You've got Rudiger. Not bad. I have no problem with Rudiger starting. Loftus-Cheek and Sarr as your back three. So Loftus-Cheek, I don't have a problem with him personally. I don't have an issue with him starting. He's not a defender. He's worked on the defensive side of his game. His defensive abilities have gotten better this season. Like he's done better working back, tracking back, making tackles. He didn't do that a whole lot previously. He was very bad about working back on the other side of the ball. He's done better with that this season. He's still not a defender. He's a midfielder. He's very good on the ball. He's still not great defensively. His positioning defensively is not great. And then Sarr, there's no reason Sarr should be playing. And it's funny because I've said before that he's really more of a championship level defender. He played against the championship side and looked terrible today, so I'm going to lower that a bit. He's a League One defender. That's where he belongs. He belongs playing in League One. He's not good enough. So why is he playing? On top of that, Hudson-Odoi on the right, Kennedy on the left. Now, I've wanted to see what Kennedy could bring to the field. I've wanted to see him get a chance to show is he better than Alonso, because Alonso's not really been cutting it recently. He's not been good. So I've been wondering, can Kennedy bring something different? Can he bring a little bit more energy? Can he do more than what Alonso's given us right now? Because what Alonso's given us is not great defending and not great attacking. And most of the time before, he would give us at least great attacking. So there's not really been a reason to play him other than we don't have another option. And so he's been trying Sarr, and Sarr's terrible on the ball, so he's not giving us anything. So I'm like, why don't we give Kennedy a shot? However, I don't want to see Kennedy given his shot whenever Sarr is behind him. Because I don't expect Kennedy to be a good defender. I don't expect that. I just want to see if he can give us a bit more going forward than Alonso can right now. But you put him on the field with Sarr behind him, that left side might as well be playing in League Two. Like, there's no defensive quality on that side. And then again, Hudson-Odoi on the right side, he's not a defender. Then you get into the midfield, you've got Jorginho and Saul. The two slowest people on our team right now. That was our midfield today. So, all of that taken into account, you've got some of the worst players. Sarr is on the field. You've got Saul on the field. Kennedy, we don't know if he's good or not because we've not seen him. Hudson-Odoi's been in a terrible run of form. Jorginho, I don't care what everybody says, he's not a good player. And then Loftus-Cheek playing out of position. That is the worst back seven I've ever seen us put out. And Kepa in goal. I mean, you look at that back seven, you've got 5 of those 7 are not defensive players. Some people will say Jorginho is. No. Just no, don't even try. I mean, he gets turned like he's just not even there. He might as well just be sitting on his ass because he's not going to defend against anybody. And then Saul, I mean, we've seen him defend. It's not good enough. So you've got 5 of your 7 are not even defenders. They're more attacking players. They're better with the ball at their feet. And then your 2 defenders, one of them isn't even good enough to be in the championship. He got embarrassed today. So you've got 1 defender out of your back 7 that's quality. And then Kepa in goal. Is it any wonder why we were down a goal for most of this match? Is it any wonder, really? And then your front 3, I mean, it's a case of you've got 3 players who are not in good form right now. You've got Mount, who's not in good goal-scoring form. Werner, who's not in good, creativity form at the moment. And then Lukaku, who's in good goal-scoring form, but not in good just anything else form. Everything else about his game is terrible. So that's a front 3 that's got a lot of gaps in it. You know, you've got 2 that'll work hard for the team. They'll try to make stuff happen, but creativity right now is low for both of them, and finishing is low for both of them. And the other one, his finishing is decent, but his work ethic has been terrible recently. And we wonder why we were losing at halftime. I mean, this is just an absolutely god-awful lineup from Tuchel. He should be fined for even putting out this lineup because it's just terrible. Honestly, I wondered if he even cared. I mean, I don't even remember him getting off the bench in the first half. Every time they showed him, he was sitting down. It just seemed like he didn't care today. Like, we lost the Carabao Cup, and he's just like, yeah, whatever. I wanted to win every single trophy we could. We lost one of them, so I just don't care anymore. Let's just go ahead and get knocked out by a championship side. That's what it felt like. So that's all very frustrating. The subs that came on, obviously, that's really what changed the game for us. I wasn't really sure about it when it first happened, because the first 2 were... Was it Pulisic? I think Pulisic was 1. I think he came on for... Who was it? Or no, was it James? God, I don't even remember. That's the thing. This game frustrated me so bad. There were parts of it that I tuned out because it was so bad to watch. Like, it was really one of those games where our performance was so bad, there were times I had to just stop watching for like a minute or so because I'm just like, I can't. I would glance up just to see if anything happened, if a goal was scored, and then I look back down. I couldn't even listen to it either because Twellman was one of the commentators, and I don't know why they're putting freaking Taylor Twellman on these FA Cup matches, but they just need to stop. Keep him at the MLS level, please. He's an MLS level commentator. He can talk and talk and talk, and people can just ignore him because they don't know soccer either. But when he commentates on these matches where the quality, the level is higher, it's better, he just sounds like an idiot and he looks like an idiot and he keeps talking and never shuts up. And when I'm trying to watch the game and I hear him constantly berating in my... Anyways, sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent. But okay, I remember all of the subs that came on and came off because James came on for Jorginho and pushed Loftus-Cheek up, which helped our defense a little bit because then we had at least 2 defenders on the field, which James... I still see him as more of an attacking option, but he can do the defensive side of the ball pretty well. But Pulisic came on for Kennedy. I think Vale came on for Hudson-Odoi. I think those are the other 2 changes, which we had 5, and we didn't see any others, which, I mean, granted, the only other changes I would have made, we had Kovacic and Conte, but I guess he's probably resting them for the weekend because they just played a lot. But I will say Hall was on the bench, and I mean, based on what I saw when he played against whoever it was, Chesterfield, when I watched him in that match, I mean, he seemed like he's a better player than Sarr. He can at least get a good touch on the ball, unlike Sarr. So that would have helped us today. So I don't know why we didn't see him. But anyways, so that's my rant on Tuchel. I mean, it seemed like a man had just lost his mind. He just said, whatever, we'll throw out whatever we have, just screw it. And it was again, very bad to watch. It was poor football. Going into individuals, Kepa, I mean, it's Kepa. It's Kepa. That's all I have to say. He's not good enough. Again, the only reason why I saw him as a possible asset was because he did make some penalty saves. He's saved penalties before. But the game this weekend showed us when it's up against better quality, when it's up against people that can actually take a good penalty, We see what happens. He can't save 11 in a row. I mean, seriously. So there's really no reason to keep a hold of him anymore. I mean, Mendy is just phenomenal. He's not slowing down either, and he's just getting better. And you look at the 2 goals that were let in today. I mean, neither of them were ones that I'm sitting there going like, oh, come on, you should save that. Like, they're both decent shots. However, Mendy probably saves both of them. I mean, the first one is basically a replica of what happened with Van Dijk. You know, cross comes in from the corner, header to the back post. And just like I said, I actually remember talking about this in the review for the Liverpool game, where Mendy gets a cross and gets a hand, Kepa would have gone. And that's exactly what he did. I as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I called it. That's exactly what we would have seen for Van Dijk's goal. Because that's what he does. If it's not at him, stand, plant, watch. As it trickles into the back of the net. Darn. And then for the second one, I mean, he just couldn't get himself set. I mean, it's not the ball over the top. I'll get to Buddy over there on the left that can't fucking defend. But, I mean, there's still that moment of he's not sure what to do. He's like stepping out, then he's stepping back, then he's stepping out, like he wasn't sure what to do. And then by the time he finally decides, okay, I'll step out now, it's too late. The guy's already at the top of the box, and you've not come out enough to close down the angle. So he has so much room to aim for that back post. Instead of waiting for that moment and making it seem like you're ready to take him on and close down the angle, you look so unsure that, I mean, if I'm the forward watching that fills me with confidence, because I'm like, he doesn't know what he's doing. I'll just take my time, wait until the opportunity is right, and there we go. It was just, he made it too easy for him because he couldn't get himself set. He didn't know when to go. He just looked so unsure. And he doesn't command his box very well. And on the ball, he was pretty poor today. So I'm just like, there's nothing about his game today that makes me think we need to keep him. If we need a backup keeper, we can put Bettinelli in. But we don't need Kepa anymore. Mendy is our number 1. He's going to be our number 1 for at least a few more years. And then maybe we can start looking at who's going to be the backup. But even then, I'm not going to say, all right, Kepa can be our backup now. No. I want us to go find another young keeper after Mendy gets to that point where he can't do it anymore. But we don't need Kepa. We can sell him now. He's not the penalty kick specialist everybody made him out to be. We saw that this weekend. So get him out. He's done. Washed up. Finished. Into the defense, Rudiger, I mean, did fine today. Again, he was the only defender, really, in the back 7. So he had to be very aware, very on top of things defensively. And, I mean, he worked hard. He kept himself pretty calm for the most part, too. That was something else I was kind of worried about, is he sort of had to be the calming presence today, which is not something he's normally good at. Normally he's the one that's riling people up, trying to get in people's faces, shoving them around. He had a couple moments where he got a little out of control, but for the most part he kept himself calmer today, didn't really get all riled up and diving in with 2 feet. So I thought it was a better, more controlled performance from him today. Loftus-Cheek, I mean, again, he's not a defender. He did okay with his time in the back. He didn't make any huge mistakes. There were some moments when his positioning caught him out a bit. But for the most part, he did fine. And then when he moved up into the midfield, that's when things got better. Sorry. Yeah, so Sarr's not a defender. He's not an attacker. He's not anything. He doesn't deserve to be out there playing for a team like Chelsea. You wanted to talk about, Neil Warnock saying, oh, Azpilicueta's lucky to be at a team like Chelsea. No, Sarr is lucky to be at a team like Chelsea. Because Azpilicueta has quality. He's a quality defender. One-on-one situations, no problem. Sarr, what has he got? Let's see, one-on-one situations, he might win the ball back. Probably going to give it up right away, though, because he can't sort his feet out. In the air, he got beat for a header for the first goal. So clearly he's not that good in the air. Positioning, I've already talked about his positioning a lot, but second goal, completely on him. Rudiger and Loftus-Cheek are at the half-field line. Where is he? About 10 yards deeper, keeping the forward onside. And that leads to a one-on-one chance that he scores. So Sarr, at fault for both goals. Missed the first header, out of position on the second one. Why is he freaking playing? Why do we... It just makes no sense. I could go on a long, long rant, but I've already talked about how bad he is, and he keeps freaking playing him. It makes no sense. I'd rather see Hall there. I'd rather see a young player who has some quality, who has some composure about himself, who works alongside the people that he's playing next to. I'd rather see somebody like that rather than a defender who can't defend, who's constantly out of position, who's constantly giving the ball away. He can't sort his feet out. They're showing how many touches. He was one of the top 4 because he takes so many freaking touches because he can't keep the ball sorted under his feet. He takes one touch and suddenly he's under pressure, and now he's got to take 3 more touches to try to keep possession, and half the time he loses it. He gives it away or he gets it poked off of him. So again, I'm not going to go on a long rant about Sarr because I've already had so many rants about him this season. He doesn't need to play. He's a terrible, terrible, terrible player. I'm sick of watching him. Wingbacks. Kennedy. Again, I wanted to see what he could do. But when you put Sarr behind him, I mean, we're not really going to see his best game. Granted, I don't think he played well today. I don't think he really showed much of anything. You know, I think Alonso's still a better option than him going forward. But I don't know how much of that is just he lacks quality and how much of that is he didn't have much help behind him. So, but yeah, I don't know. I hope we get Chilwell back soon. And if we don't, honestly, I think our best option would be to go James on the right and then Azpilicueta on the left. Because I think Azpilicueta, he's not the greatest going forward like Alonso is. But, I mean, he can at least work hard for the team. He can do something just with his up and down the line runs. So that's something. Hudson-Odoi on the right. He's just faded. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's not the same player that he used to be. He's really lacking a lot of the quality that I've come to expect out of him. You know, he's been riding these highs for so long, but it just feels like he doesn't really have much of anything anymore. So I just didn't see anything from him today that got me excited. Every time he got on the ball, I'm like, okay, is he going to cut it back and go backwards? Yep, okay. So really disappointing that he's not really providing much for us. In the midfield, Saul and Jorginho. I mean, Jorginho, like I said, he's not the player everybody expects him to be. He's not a defensive player. On the attack, his passes forward, maybe 40% go to their targets, but the rest of them right to a defender. So completely useless in there. And then Saul, his work rate was pretty good today. He's still pretty slow, so there were moments when he was getting kind of knocked off the ball because he's not beating the other player there. He's not beating the opposition player, and then they just sort of get in front of him and shove him off the ball shoulder to shoulder. So I don't know. He was working hard. He was trying. So I appreciated the ethic because I remember there were some games where I felt like he wasn't really working that hard. And honestly, he was probably the most dangerous player in the first half. But that's part of the problem is he was the most dangerous player and took the goal well, but there were so many other chances that felt wasted because he's not that great on the ball. You know, he had one good moment on it, and then the rest of them were very weak shots or right at the keeper, or he missed the goal entirely. So one good shot out of like 10 chances that he had. The other, some others were shots, some were passes that were too far. So it was like his finishing nature wasn't really good today, but the work ethic was there. And I appreciated that. I just wanted somebody who was a bit more clinical to have that type of work ethic today. Into the front three, I mean, basically what I've already said about Mount and Werner. Very hard work today. They busted it. They tried to make things happen. Werner did get a bit better by the end of the game. He did have the goal and he had the assist to Lukaku. So, I mean, he did improve his finishing by the end of the game. But for the most part, it was pretty poor. Like, him being on the ball is not something I really want to see because I feel like when he's on the ball, he's not the best, and his touch isn't great, and his creativity is not great. But with that being said, he did show some moments at the end, so maybe he just needs to get on the ball more for that to improve. I don't know, possibly. And then Mount, I mean, I don't know what's going on with him, but he had so many missed chances against Liverpool, and then today it just felt like he couldn't really get a good touch. Like, his passes were off, his crosses were off. It just seems like something's going on with him, and I don't know what it is. But his quality is much better than what we've seen out of him over the past few games that he's played. So I hope he can improve there. And then Lukaku, ended the game well, I guess. Like, he started working a bit more, but God, there's still so many moments where I see somebody put a ball into him and it's not right in his path. And instead of saying, okay, I'll check my run and get on the ball, he just sort of ends his run in a little loop around, like, oh, I guess I'm not getting on the end of it, while the ball's dropping 5 feet from where he is, and he's just done because it wasn't on the path, on the run he was making, and so that's not enough. The biggest one I can think of is there was like a run he was making, and he's about to like run in behind the defender, which, I mean, that's what he loves to do, is just get behind the defender and then hide, and then maybe we'll get the ball to him. I don't know how. I don't know how we can get a ball to a player behind the defender, but maybe it'll work one of these times, Lukaku. Maybe that run will work once. But Rudiger puts a ball in, and it's like short. And he's like running this way, and the ball drops here, and instead of cutting back and maybe trying to get something on the ball, he just stops, and then the ball bounces right to the keeper. And I'm thinking, if you just at least try to put something in on the ball, maybe it flicks off the defender, maybe the defender mishits his clearance, and then it goes to one of our players. But instead, he just stands and watches, and the ball bounces comfortably into the keeper. And that's my biggest problem with him, is that, yeah, he'll work occasionally, but it's like he doesn't want to work for the team. My dad likes to say there's no such thing as a bad ball. Because, yes, sometimes you do mishit it, sometimes your crosses aren't quite on target, but the person that's there can turn it into a good ball if they change their run or if they try to work to get to it. And Lukaku's just not one of those people. He's somebody that if you don't put it right to him, he's not getting to it. And it's a big issue for our main striker. I'm gonna pause real quick. Sorry about that. I had to take a call, and I figured I needed to wait for a good time to stop. And stopping right after I finished talking about the starting lineup seemed like a good place. So, on to the subs. Thinking about it now, I'm pretty sure I do remember that Vale and Pulisic came on first. I'm pretty sure that's how it went, but again, I'm not entirely sure. But the both of them came on, and I feel like they did make a bit of difference. And the main reason is because without Kennedy and Hudson-Odoi, I feel like we did have a bit more creativity. It was hard to really tell what we went to after they came on. I think it was Mount was kind of the left wing a little bit, and I think Pulisic was the right wing, and then Vale was pushed a little further forward alongside Werner and Lukaku. So I think that's what kind of helped us, because Mount and Pulisic are more creative and more, frankly, better talented players than Kennedy or Hudson-Odoi. So I feel like it really helped us create a lot more going down those wings, because we did have a lot of space to drive down the wings. Problem is we weren't doing much with it, because Kennedy and Hudson-Odoi, I don't feel like were giving us much. So when Mount and Pulisic were the two players out there, Mount still not great, especially now that he's having to cross with his left foot. It definitely showed it's not his strong suit. But Pulisic, I feel like, really brought a lot of energy and a lot of creativity down the right side. And the third goal, the second one was a ball over the top to Werner, but the third goal came from you drive down that right side, nice little interplay, and then Werner's in behind to cross it for Lukaku. So, a lot of our best play after those two subs came down our right side, because we had a lot more going for us. And on top of that, Vale's he's coming along pretty well. He's doing okay. I still would like to see him in a game where we're not chasing and we're not having to deal with the team sort of packing it in and not a whole lot of space to play. I would like to see what he could do with more space to work, because what I've seen so far is okay. It's pretty good, but he is hindered by the fact that he's been playing a lot of teams that are very condensed, and it feels like he doesn't have a whole lot of time and space to move. So today, again, it felt very much like that. When it opened up a little bit, he was a bit more involved, and he was able to create a bit more too. So it was a decent performance from him, and I guess if I didn't make it clear, Pulisic, I thought, played well and created a lot for us down the right side. And then James came on for Jorginho, which pushed Loftus-Cheek in the midfield, and really that's when, like I said earlier, Loftus-Cheek, he got to be a bit more effective, because those driving runs, he made a couple of those driving runs from defense, which did kind of scare me. But he's very good at that. He picks the ball up from deep, and he can just drive through several players because he's very good. He's got some pace, he's got enough strength to hold off challenges, and he's got very quick feet for somebody his size. So it's not really something you would expect from a player that as tall as he is. Most of the time, the tall players don't have the quick feet to nip in and out of challenges, but he's very good about that. And he's, again, the strength allows him to ride off the challenges, so he's able to make those long driving runs with a lot of success. His passing, for the most part, was okay. I think it was actually his ball over the top for Werner that allowed him to score, and that was, it was brilliantly weighted ball. It was pretty much right on Werner's foot and right over the defender to the point where he couldn't get on it. So if that was his ball, I'm pretty sure it was, but it was fantastically hit. But James came in and I thought did his job well enough. He came on to provide a bit more defensive stability for us alongside Rudiger. And he did that well enough. He was very aware of every situation. He was reading a lot of the balls that were dumped long. And of course, his passing is something that he's really better known for than his defending. And so whenever he was on that side, Rudiger's passing is not bad, but it's not as good as James's. And so whenever he was there to sort of connect that play down the right side, that's something else that helped us. And I think he was the one... Was he the one that sent the ball through for Werner? I can't remember who sent that ball through, but he was involved in that little passing play that led to the ball through. I just can't remember who sent the ball in behind now. But, he did provide more stability back there for us than Loftus-Cheek did. And Loftus-Cheek, I thought, provided more energy and strength and pace in the midfield. So once that sub happened, it really did feel very much like this is our game now, like we're in control. But that's about it for individuals. Yeah, the game overall, I'm glad we won, but I'm really disappointed with the performance. And especially coming off of what was a great performance with a disappointing result, at the weekend. Like, that was such a fantastic performance, and it's coming after what was several games of, it was okay, it was all right, and then Lille was a good game, and then Liverpool was a great game. We just didn't finish. And then we come into this one, and a lot of changes, players I don't want to see playing are put out there, and the performance showed. It was really, really poor, and then thankfully we managed to eke it out at the end. But I don't know, I would much rather perform well and get the job done rather than not perform well and get the job done. I hate that feeling of, God, we just narrowly beat Luton Town. And granted, Tottenham did lose to a championship side, so that's... But I don't want to be Tottenham. I don't even want to be close to being compared to Tottenham because they're nowhere near our level. So I don't even want to be like, Tottenham they got beat by a championship side, so... Yeah, so that's Tottenham. We're not Tottenham. we should be above that. So narrowly beating a championship side is not something I want to really be proud of. I would prefer that we just easily handled it and got on to the next round, and we didn't have to watch Sarr fumble over himself time and time again. But whatever the case, I know I'm probably going to be, I don't know. It will probably be 50-50. Some people will be really pissed with Tuchel, and some people will be like, you guys are just too critical. You just need to trust him. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, that's... he definitely knows what he's doing, guys. That's why we're, 13, 16... How many points from the title are we? We're way off the title now because of Tuchel and his decisions, and the way we play is so negative, and yeah. So, I don't know. I'm frustrated with him right now, and that's just how I feel. So, it may change. I'm not going to tell you if it changes, because last time that I started loving Tuchel, we saw what happened. 4-0 against Juventus, and then we were just terrible after that. So, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the game today? Let me know what we can talk about and discuss, all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.